On tonight's CTV News, immigration consultants warn proposals to tighten restrictions on migrants could have an impact on the rebuild. Arana Park's Cheetahs are off to Wellington, and we visit a wine laboratory. This is CTV News. I'm Grant Mangan. New Zealand economists are calling for the government to reassess housing policies as rent and house prices continue to increase.
National housing prices and rent continue to rise, causing financial experts to worry about the risk to the economy. Principal economist for the New Zealand Institute of Economic Research, Shamubila Koob, says there will be a great deal of social harm if people can never afford to buy. Building more houses will only slowly start to solve the problem, but Koob says it's a government fix needed for the market to be able to respond to the demand. Statistics New Zealand data shows building of houses has not matched up with the rising population. A decrease in the housing market came before the loss of homes from the Christchurch earthquakes, widening the housing gap further. Christchurch's housing shortage leads to increasing prices for buying and rent, only making it more difficult for people to afford their own home. New Zealand is a large place with a small population. Akub says house prices shouldn't be this costly.
Environment Canterbury is reviewing bus routes around the city. The Christchurch City Council is worried the proposed changes will affect patronage.
A bus route review by Environment Canterbury could leave locals without reasonable access. ECAN are currently partway through the review, which proposes to shift from having many routes operating at low frequencies to having fewer rates operating at higher frequencies. This means some services may be cut. But ECAN has a solution. They're hoping people will walk an extra distance to catch a bus running every 15 minutes, overtaking a bus outside their house that only comes every hour. But the Christchurch City Council is worried about the plans, believing they will not lead to an increased patronage because some people will be left without reasonable access to a bus service. The council believes a higher frequency service would also make it easier to justify the council's investment in improved infrastructure for public transport. Submissions on ECAN's Metro bus services review close mid-June.
Immigration consultants warn a Labour Party proposal to tighten restrictions on migrants moving to Christchurch could have an impact on the rebuild.
The Labour Party have released an immigration policy wanting tighter restrictions on the flow of immigrants into New Zealand. Labour leader David Cunliffe says he's not calling for all immigration to stop. Instead, he wants it regulated when the numbers are high. Mike Bell, an immigration consultant in Christchurch, wants to know where Labour would make the cuts. Those who migrate to New Zealand on long-term visas are work-related. Cutting back on skilled workers will directly impact not only the rebuild but construction nationally.
Cutting skilled workers is the only area you could really cut. And that would directly impact on not only Christchurch, but also, for example, the housing crisis in Auckland. There's already been signs that there's skill shortages in Auckland because a lot of people have been attracted down to Christchurch with good skills. So it can affect the entire country.
Immigration is a conveyor belt, Bell says. 24% of immigration are New Zealanders moving elsewhere. The workers who migrate are filling crucial skill gaps in the industry.
Most of the people who come here will be here for a short period of time. They'll do some useful work, pay their taxes, and then they'll leave again. And they're only here because we need them. So, for example, politicians often ignore the fact that for someone to get an essential skills work visa, which is the most common one, the employer has to prove they can't find a New Zealander to do that job.
Over 4,000 foreign workers moved to Christchurch for work in 2013. The Canterbury Development Corporation says eventually the construction work will dry up, leaving the migrants without work. Mike Bell says the rebuild has hardly started. The workers on short-term working visas will continue to stay until there's no longer jobs. Without working visas, they will return home.
I don't know if the people saying these things have actually been to Christchurch recently, but they haven't really started building things yet. I mean, they're still knocking things down. Most of the area around us is a wasteland. So the rebuild has not really started yet. It's going to be a long time before we don't need these workers.
The housing shortage in Christchurch will only be minimised with houses continuing to be built. Mike Bell says with so many houses damaged in the earthquakes, reducing construction workers will slow down the rebuild.
We had 100,000 damaged, 10,000 destroyed. So we need the houses just for the population anyway. The main issue is planning. There hasn't been any planning around this. Basically for 2 years after the earthquakes, everything stopped, and then suddenly they realised they needed to build houses, and it's just been too slow. So this is a result of indecision immediately after the earthquakes.
Mike Bell says numbers of migrants are still below what they were prior to the earthquakes and the recession of 2009. Statistics New Zealand shows an increase in apprentice tradesmen, but Bell says it's experience that is required to rebuild the city.
So you wouldn't have new houses being built by new apprenticeships. What you want are skilled workers with years of experience overseeing workers coming through, New Zealanders coming through.
Joelle Batista, CTV News.
The housing crisis in Christchurch is having an effect on the health system. The Canterbury District Health Board is spending thousands of dollars a week to house patients.
The housing crisis is having an effect on mental health patients. An entire ward at Hillmorton Hospital is being filled with mental health patients avoiding living on the streets. It comes at a cost to the Canterbury District Health Board of at least $13,000 a night. At a CDHB meeting held yesterday, a specialist in mental health services blamed the issue on the current housing crisis in Christchurch. It's believed on any given night, up to 25 patients are staying at Hillmorton Hospital because of the lack of affordable housing options in the city. On top of those 25 patients, the press reported there were around 100 other mental health clients living within the community, but in unsafe accommodation or sleeping on the streets. The chief executive for the CDHB says there is no other hospital to send or divert these patients to.
One of the region's top doctors is applauding WorkSafe New Zealand for investigating a company's handling of asbestos.
Dr Alistair Humphrey is no fan of asbestos. The Canterbury Medical Officer of Health has been warning of its adverse effects for at least 17 months.
So it's a terrible legacy for EQC to leave to the people of Christchurch of a hidden risk of asbestos in homes that we won't know is even there.
That was what he said in January last year, when he called on EQC to reveal which homes have had asbestos encased in the ceiling. He was also calling for a moratorium on the work. WorkSafe New Zealand has since confirmed it's investigated Fletcher building 4 times in February. Each case involved asbestos exposure in Christchurch. No charges have been laid. However, a 5th case will see Fletcher's heading to court on Friday.
It's a great thing they're doing it. WorkSafe are doing their job properly. They're chasing down people who have not followed procedures. Sadly, Department of Labour should have been doing it maybe 2 years ago.
Until the case is complete, WorkSafe New Zealand isn't commenting, but a spokesman did say the organisation has applied to the court for an extension of time while it completes an investigation. A statement from Fletcher Building says the company has responsibly and effectively managed the risk of asbestos exposure during its Canterbury home repair program. The company says independent contractors tested all homes assessed to potentially contain asbestos. The Council of Trade Unions is deeply concerned about the exposure to deadly asbestos Christchurch rebuild workers are experiencing. CTU Policy Director Bill Rosenberg says the government has a moral obligation to take urgent action. From a public health perspective, Dr Humphrey's worried about the long-term effects asbestos exposure will have on Cantabrians.
Sadly, EQC have not kept a record of who's had what done. So there's 35,000 homes, there's no record of what's going on. The only way we are ever going to find out now is from the homeowners themselves being given a process that they can go over it and see what kind of things were done in my house, should I be concerned.
Dr Humphrey says Cantabrians will be alarmed by the news. They might have been inadvertently exposed to asbestos.
Given that 35,000 homes did not have a proper risk assessment done for asbestos, and we are told approximately a quarter of those, or up to about 9,000, are likely to have had what we call ACMs, or asbestos-containing materials in them. What about public concern about this? This is going to cause anxiety among the public.
Dr Humphrey would like to see a risk assessment process established to help put the public at ease if they're not at risk.
There will be some people where they cannot give that assurance, and those people should have testing done in their house right now. So that, and again, I think most of the time testing will come back as negative and they can be reassured. There may be, among those 9,000 people, a few people who cannot be reassured. That's a tragedy for those people.
Asbestos effects may not be noticed until decades after the initial exposure. Dr. Humphrey still hopes a moratorium on the practice of encasing ceilings during repairs will be put in place. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Christchurch rebuild workers are breathing in large quantities of toxins from concrete, potentially more harmful than asbestos.
Crushing concrete, a common sight in the rebuild scene. The dust created may contain silica fibres, causing lung disease and cancers. University of Canterbury's toxicology professor Ian Shaw says until 4 years ago, the importance of concrete dust in cancer causes wasn't really known, but it's becoming increasingly important by the second. The effects from the concrete chemicals are very similar to those of asbestos. Ian Shaw says the issue is probably bigger than asbestos in Canterbury, because everyone knows what it is and are fearful of it. Different to asbestos, there are no regulations around dealing with concrete dust, specifically other than best practice. That is the recommended use of a face mask when working with a great amount of the concrete. Exposure to the dust for a great deal of time can result in a lost lung capacity, lung disease and cancer. Risks associated with the harmful concrete dust are well known in the scientific community, according to Ian Shaw, but it is not practiced out in health and safety for the workplace. The long-term illnesses may not start to show for 10 to 15 years after contact with the concrete dust.
Coming up, a new wine could soon be on supermarket shelves.
Red and Black Sports match of the day in the Press Cup this week. It's on our screen, Sunday 12:30, 5:30 replay on the day, and 7 o'clock next Thursday night. Catch the match.
Hi, I'm Mark and welcome to Stay Well Pharmacy. Whatever the season, Stay Well Pharmacy has you covered. As an integrated pharmacy, we stock all the well-known pharmacy medicines, as well as quality nutritional and herbal treatments. Our team of pharmacists and full-time naturopath are here to help you find the products and advice to suit the needs of you and your family. So come in and see us at Stay Well Pharmacy, 27 Shands Road in Hornby. Stay Well Pharmacy, live well, stay well.
Yuck, look at all this moss and lichen. I'm not getting up there, not in these heels. Time to call Mossbuster.
Mossbuster is a no-bleach, non-abrasive, biodegradable solution that has over 35 years of proven results. You can buy Mossbuster online for less than half the cost of other well-known products and can be yours for less than $1 a litre. You just spray it on and let Mother Nature do the rest, or Mossbuster can do it for you. Check out our website or call the Mossbuster crew for a free quote. Mossbuster, 0800 88 1000.
Come dine with Country Catering at the Kaipoi Golf Club Cafe. Enjoy our range of delicious $10 lunches, daily specials and other homemade goodies. Open to the public 7 days inside the Kaipoi Golf Club, north end of William Street, Kaipoi. We look forward to seeing you soon.
The Home Show Spa Pool sale is on. Hi, Mike from Four Seasons. Save $2,000 on Spa Pool 947 with all the features. Spas from just $5,499 with savings up to $4,000. Home Show sale on now at Four Seasons Home and Leisure, Tower Junction Mega Centre.
Flash news set, isn't it? Red and Black Sport gets a new title as well, but we'll still be talking every week to the movers and shakers in sport. Red and Black Sport, Monday night, 7:30, here on CTV.
It was a temporary shopping place for retailers in the CBD and it's been saved from being closed for good. Now the Restart Mall is shifting to make way for new central city developments.
Christchurch's temporary mall is making a move, relocating these container shops from one end of the Restart Mall to the other. The shift will be quick, only taking 10 days to move the shops opposite Ballantyne's down to the corner closest to the Bridge of Remembrance. Restart Mall was first opened in 2011 thanks to a $3.3 million interest-free loan from the Christchurch Earthquake Appeal Trust. The decision to keep the shops open for another year comes after Restart retailers were on the verge of closing their doors, with their leases due to run out in April. But in March, the Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority announced a partnership between the Crown and the private sector with a $1.27 million grant, a way for the container mall to stay open for another year. Jerry Brownlee, the Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Minister, says the brightly coloured container mall is an icon for the recovery of Christchurch. John Suckling, the chairman of the Restart Trust, believes the container mall is continuing to fulfil its transitionary role until permanent premises are built. Mr Suckling says many of the retailers have been in Restart Mall since it opened in 2011. A sign he believes shows that retailers are committed to staying in the heart of Christchurch. The move will make way for new developments. The former Shades Arcade and Whitcool sites are being developed into large retail and office complexes to be known as Cashel Square.
The Christchurch City Council has yet to make a decision on whether the Ellerslie Flower Show will continue in Christchurch.
The Christchurch City Council were unable to make a decision today on the future of the Ellerslie Flower Show. The council is considering breaking its contract, which cost ratepayers $900,000 since 2010, after its initial purchase price of $3 million. 2 full public excluded council meetings have been held. After the first, councillors deferred the decision, requesting more information. Following this morning's meeting, the council will be meeting with Ellerslie Director Dave Mee this afternoon to discuss the future of the world-class flower show. The council has formed a subcommittee today to negotiate with Flower Show Management Limited. The committee will be chaired by Councillor Tim Scandrett, along with Deputy Mayor Vicky Buck, Councillors Ali Jones and Yanni Johansson. Sir Bob Parker, who was the Mayor of Christchurch at the time of its purchase, says letting the contract go will be a mistake if that's what the council decides. Parker told the press he doesn't know what the consequences will be if the council choose to terminate the flower show contract.
A new variety of wine could soon be on the shelves in bottle stores and supermarkets. Emma Cropper has the story.
It could be a game changer for the wine industry, and it's happening all here in a small lab tucked away at Lincoln University. Chris Winefield is leading the small research team involved in creating a great diversity of grapevines, which basically means down the track, vineyards could choose certain grapevines to help against disease tolerance, sustainable production, or even a new variety of wine, which makes this research one of a kind.
We believe the collection of plants that we're producing in conjunction with plant and food research is the only population of its type in the world, and we are expecting quite a bit of interest from the international research community in particular to access this population as it starts to grow in size.
The team of around 7 have been working on the breakthrough over the past 5 years, starting with these small cultures. They're shocked and put under stress inside the lab, either by these UV lights, temperature shocks, or exposure to microorganisms such as bacteria or fungi, creating these mutant vines where the DNA structures have been changed.
But eventually over time we would expect that a large proportion of these weird looking plants will end up looking more or less like that over time.
But they don't stay this way forever.
And we're not interested in producing lots of mutant plants. What we're interested in is trying to get plants with quite subtle changes, which will hopefully be the ones we're looking for in the important processes for both the industry and our science work.
The collection the research team are working with is a sample of 200, but it needs to grow over time to have an impact.
As I said, we need a population quite a bit larger, maybe 1,000-fold larger, to actually start finding those rare gems which will be of interest to the industry.
Although the vines are being bred in a lab, it's no different to what you would expect from your normal vineyard.
Probably the important thing to remember is that these vines we're producing are not anything different to what we would see in nature. We've just taken the process and industrialised it so we can get a much more rapidly collect a much wider population of these odysseys, if you like.
The first findings of the researchers hope to be published in the coming months as a taster to the industry of what else is to come. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
Still to come, 2 of Arana Park's inmates are moving to the capital.
Make sure you catch a virtual tour of the roadworks and traffic changes affecting the CBD, each weekday at 7, 8 and 9 a.m. Catch it again during your lunch break at 12 and watch CTV News first at 5 for the latest update.
Come in and meet the locals at the Bush Inn Centre. Whether it's to grab a coffee on the go or to catch up with a friend over lunch or dinner, the Bush Inn Centre is the perfect place. With our unique range of shops, you'll find everything you're looking for and more. Our friendly locals are always happy to help. We have plenty of parking at the Bush Inn Centre, making your shopping experience just a little bit easier. So come in, meet the locals and shop Bush Inn. You'll find us on the corner of Riccarton and Waimari Roads.
Pestral has the latest technology that repels rats and mice and even helps control cockroaches. Covers walls, ceilings and open spaces. Combines electromagnetic, ultrasonic and ionic technologies. Harmless to pets and people, just plug it in. Order your Pestral rodent-free today. Now $149.90 plus courier. Order within 20 minutes and get it courier free. Call 0800 88 88 44 or go to pestral.co.nz.
Welcome to Caltex Redwood. We're a family-owned business proudly supporting our local community. We're open 24/7 for fuel and shop goods, and we have an amazing team of people ready to help you. Save at least 6 cents per litre using AA Smart Fuel cards. We also offer great value on our LPG bottle fills. We have a full workshop and Bridgestone Tyre Centre. Our mechanics and tyre technicians will get your car sorted. Caltex Redwood. We're just down from St Bede's on Main North Road. Caltex Redwood. What drives you?
Be watching CTV News first at 5 and you could win up to $5,000 every week with CTV's cash giveaways. For more information, visit our website and be watching CTV News first at 5.
Two 5-year-old male cheetahs from Arana Park are moving to the capital city.
It's bye-bye cheetah for now. These quick cats are leaving home. 5-year-old males, Kango and Shamari, are leaving Christchurch and headed for Wellington to become capital cheetah ambassadors. Home to over 400 animals from more than 70 different species, Christchurch's Arana Wildlife Park is New Zealand's only open-range zoo. Head keeper of exotic mammals, Rob Clifford, says the two hand-raised cheetahs will be well taken care of at Wellington Zoo.
See, these two boys are quite special to this place. It was a great success rearing them, but now it's time for them to move on to another facility.
Rob Clifford says the animals should be part of a breeding program, but for these cheetahs, becoming ambassadors is about enabling people to learn firsthand about the species.
Animals are used to educate people, so to do something like this, to get up close, people remember, people understand the conservation message and all the rest, that sort of stuff. You know, if you get your hands on a cat, it sticks with you. It's very important that people understand what we're all about.
Now that Kango and Shamari are departing Christchurch, the wildlife park will only have 13 cheetahs. Christchurch's Arana Park is the only New Zealand zoo currently breeding the cheetahs. With the breeding program for this year already underway, it's about repopulating this spotty species.
It's all about space. So out of the 4 that were born, 2 go to Wellington. We're going to keep one of the boys here as a breeding male, and their sister's already part of the breeding program.
Cheetahs are difficult to breed in captivity. Arana is one of a small number of zoos worldwide who have achieved repeated success with breeding the cats. Rob Clifford says the breeding got off to a positive start and he's hoping it will continue.
It's a lot of hard work, it's very, very tricky, but with the crew here I'm sure we'll have a great success this year.
18 cheetahs have been hand-raised at Arana and the team of zookeepers are hoping to raise more cubs later this year. The youngest of the cats are 6-month-old Boo and Lion, who were originally set to go to Wellington. Rob Clifford says the youngsters will now stay at Arana while Cantabrians enjoy seeing them grow. Joel Batista, CTV News.
If you're driving around the central city, CTV's traffic update will assist you navigating the repairs taking place.
Hello travellers, to help you plan your journey around the central city, here's a few tips on the best way to avoid jams this week. Beeley Avenue is down to 2 lanes from Barbados Street to Madras for those heading westbound as work continues at the Madras and Beeley Avenue intersection. Madras Street's also down to 1 lane between Armagh and Chester Street East. Works continuing on the stretch of Madras Street near the Polytechnic, and you're bound to face delays between Morehouse Avenue and Chewham Streets. When heading north, we recommend using Montreal Street or Fitzgerald Avenue. That way you'll stay clear of the traffic jams and pile-ups. To keep up to date on what's happening with the Central City roads, stay tuned, keep watching CTV News first at 5 for the latest updates, and in the meantime visit the Transport for Christchurch website.
And finally tonight, here's your regional weather.
Kia ora everybody. Well, it was another cool start this morning. Down in South Canterbury, Timaru had 15 degrees today, Temuka and Geraldine on 15 degrees. Ashburton 16 degrees for your Wednesday, Methven had 16 degrees, Rakaia 16 degrees for you, Darthfield had 16 degrees today, Leeston and Rolleston had 15 degrees, Lincoln also had 15 degrees today, and Christchurch a moderate day for you with 15 degrees. Akaroa had a slight difference with 14 degrees today, and out in North Canterbury, Kaipoi, Rangiora and Amberley all on 16 degrees today. Let's take a look inland now. Colvardin and Henna Springs, you were both on 16 degrees today and 16 degrees also in Cheviot. Let's take a closer look at the weather in your area now. Timaru, fine at first with mild northwesterlies but cooler southwesterly winds and showers developing during the afternoon. Tonight's low 8 degrees, tomorrow's high 13 degrees. Ashburton, high cloud and mild northwesterly winds during the morning, but blusterly cold southwesterlies and showers developing later on. Tonight's overnight low 8 degrees, tomorrow's high 14 degrees. Christchurch, you'll need an umbrella tomorrow, although the morning will be fine and mild, but those showers are expected to develop during the afternoon with colder southwesterly winds. Tonight's low 8 degrees, tomorrow's high 14. Kaikoura, fine at first with mild northwesterlies but cooler southwesterly winds and showers developing during the afternoon. Tonight's overnight low will be 8 degrees, tomorrow's high 14. Temuka and Geraldine can expect a high of 13 degrees. Methven, you'll have 14 degrees and 13 expected for Rakaia. Darthfield, you can expect 14 degrees tomorrow, and Leeston 14 degrees for you. Rolleston and Lincoln 14 degrees for you as well, and Akaroa will be on 14 degrees. And out in North Canterbury, Kaipoi and Rangiora 14 degrees is set for your Wednesday. Amberley also have 14 expected for you. Colvardin, Henna Springs and Cheviot, a showery day ahead for you as well with 14 degrees. Looking ahead for Canterbury, mostly fine and sunny from Friday through to next Tuesday. However, cooler daytime temperatures and you can expect frost at night. That's your weather update for Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Well, it looks as though if we can make it through tomorrow's little downpours, we're in for some spectacularly good weather over the weekend. Let's hope it stays that way. That's CTV News. I'm Grant Mangan. Good night.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.